Howdy. Well, you said you wanted me on your next RantCast, Kurgan. I'm here.
Think he might be away. One was a little too wide. You can flip that around. These are cool.
A lot of disrespect on the Discord. No, I'm kidding. No, we've been having a lot of lively discussions lately, and I thought it was time to get back in the habit. So I'm really glad you guys could join us today. Let me go ahead and douse the flames, and we can get into our topics.
I like the little clip of the
The
soccer ball ricocheting off the goalpost and then off the guy on the ground.
God, Sterling. Yeah, that's a classic meme-worthy video. So we got some.
Oh,
Oh, go ahead. What were you gonna say?
I was just gonna say there's a clip that I remember was mimetic on like the international football subreddit. I think a couple of years ago that was just so hilarious. It was like a comedy of errors resulting in one of the funniest own goals you will ever see. But
Oh,
kind
yeah.
of reminds me of that.
Yeah, well, and I think that's what they were going for. So we definitely got some big topics today. We're going to be talking HeroQuest and Star Wars, which are kind of what we always go back to. And I just want to acknowledge first the people in the chat. We got Joe Cozier, JacerJ22, always good to have him with us, and Ribby, of course, who's done some really sweet stuff for the stream. Okay.
Yep.
All right, so StrangeBus, go ahead and introduce yourself to those who maybe don't remember the original OG of the RantCast.
Okay. Well, you know, I am Josh, aka the Strange Bus. It's twitch.tv/the Strange Bus. Used to host for this, and then life got severely complicated. But we both used to do the hosting, I guess, is how it went down. So, but I think you do a really good job, handling it. So,
Thanks. Yeah, after
uh,
you see me floundering around with the settings. Honestly, we do that every time, but like so back I
it's
remember doing the show, we would do like an hour, like 2 hours prepping and stuff would still go wrong. So all you professional
yeah,
streamers out there know what it's like.
that's just I guess streaming in general. I still can't get my sound alerts to work. They were working earlier, still
Yeah.
can't get them to work now. So,
They have a problem with
uh,
the Firefox browser. I think they said that on their page. I don't know if they're ever going to fix that or if it's just you
oh
have to reset everything or you have to like log in with a different browser, verify everything, and then
yeah,
so I got to do that too. So, and his name is John Cena.
yeah. Yeah, but yeah, I do my own stuff. And then hopefully one day life will kind of settle down a little bit so I can do these more regularly again. But yeah, I do. I guess I kind of did more of the entertainment part of the podcast and like
Yeah.
the pop culture. I guess let me rephrase that so I'm not just saying that you were the boring part, but because you weren't, you did like the
Boring.
HeroQuest and the entertainment news that I didn't handle, and then I would handle like Star Wars and video games and
Oh, did you
um
ever?
yeah,
If I want to get this
which I've
guy
got a
going, I just got to mention something about Star Wars, and it's like, let me tell you something.
you can already tell right now because I'm like my ears are disappearing. I'm God, I want to fix that. It's like bothering me so bad. I should
I
probably
like
just
the
disable the backdrop.
shimmering wizard. But yeah, so you do the Star Wars for sure. I've seen you do not just Star Wars gaming, but a lot of like newer games, like trendier games, and good stuff too. Not just whatever's the
Oh
newest,
yeah,
but like yeah, for the longest time, I mean, you always had like a better computer. I had kind of like the older generation stuff, so I couldn't really
You
do
had a
that.
potato.
Yeah, it was, but it was a potato chip, so it was delicious. It was salty. It was yeah, and I tend to be.
oh
It's funny, like I tend to be the negative guy, and you're like the positive, but not always. Other times it's like the other way around. So I love the interplay that we have. So I think that's why we still do it. But yeah.
yeah, and yeah, it's not too bad. And like I said, I enjoy being on here. I love doing the simulcast that you did on Saturdays.
Hmm.
It's tends to get a little bit busy when I have three children who are wild. All three of them are wild cards. So um
Yeah. Yeah. Totally understand, man. Dad duty comes first. So well, and let's see. So I got you into HeroQuest, and I like to say that you got me back into Star Wars. Like, you know, I just when I get
well
out, they keep trying to bring me back in.
you you are a rough sell, friend. You are.
I am. This guy has to like drag me to stuff. Like, no, 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 you got to give it a chance. Like, okay, fine. All right, it sucked. Like, yeah, okay, yeah, I admit it. No, I mean, you've shown me some good stuff. You've pointed out some areas where it's like, okay, yeah, I admit I had a blind spot on that, and everything. So it's good. But yeah, it's great to have you. Great to have you back. Just isn't the same without you. And
Always great to be here.
you,
So
you got the bus of Discord. Discord is back. So everything that you
mhm.
had is back except for YouTube, right?
Yeah, which I'm currently rebuilding slowly. YouTube's processing stuff sucks, and if the video doesn't process, I have to re-upload it. Right now, I'm probably just gonna erase a lot of it, and then just I'm doing Resident Evil 4 remake tonight, so I'll probably just start with that and just start
Whoa,
re-uploading as I go. So
dang. Yeah, yeah, it's really sweet. And yeah, Joe Kozier, welcome by the way, is noticing HeroQuest in the background there
oh
behind you.
yeah, that's my workstation for benchmarking, and I do old computers back there. So like I have a Pentium 2 that I'll clean up, and a lot of like older video cards and stuff that I'll put in the back there. But yeah, I also have X-Wing somewhere. Yeah, right there.
Oh, sweet.
So
Yeah, yeah, that
and
game
then
has a
my
lot of
my
history.
vinyl, which I still haven't found a place for.
We're on the RantCast with the StrangeBus and Karningul, and I was talking about how like the art of debate has been lost. A lot of people, like back in the day, we called it flaming. Like you get online and someone disagrees with you, and you're like, "You suck," and you insult their mother, and you tell them to stuff it and all this stuff, and then you do lots of like, you know, uh, images of like you're punching them in the face and stuff, and like you do that until someone gets banned. But after a while, it's kind of like, all right, you can have a real discussion, and at the end, it's like Fight Club. You're like, okay, I've lost like half my teeth now, but we're still friends. It's still good.
Maybe.
What I'm trying to say is on the HeroQuest fans Discord. I mean, we're just hanging out. We're talking about HeroQuest. People are like sharing their painting tips and hopes and dreams for the next expansion, but we do argue about stuff, and I always mean it like in a good spirit. So I was gonna say, like, I like that passion, and I want to bring it to the show. And I know you've been on with us before, but welcome back. So tell us a little bit about yourself, if you want, there, Karningul.
I mean, I don't do any fancy streaming or anything.
Doing one now.
I'm just,
Well,
yeah, I know. I mean, I'm a guest. That doesn't count.
I had to cut his mic, ban him. No, kidding.
I'm just, I'm a OG HeroQuest big time fan from back, early 90s.
About that, I was gonna say, like, so Old Scratch. Tell me about that, because I don't think.
Yeah, I was gonna say, yeah, I was a member of Old Scratch for a while. Although every time it comes up, I feel compelled to say that I was lapsed for a number of years, even before it disappeared. I think after a while, not having any regular people to play with, and I had sort of HeroQuest had fallen into the background for a while. Although I've always valued my copy of the game, kept it in as good shape as I could once I got old enough to learn how to take care of things. Anyway,
yeah.
I was very hard on my possessions as a youngster.
They got loved. Well, I mean, I always knew people. It's like they strapped M80s to their Star Wars figures and send them to the toy box in the sky. It's like, what? Like if I'd done something like that, my parents would be like, okay, you're not getting anything for Christmas. Like I never did, so I was like, all right.
But yeah, just melt them down in acetone,
Yeah. Increase the value of the other toys. Yeah.
Yeah, Old Scratch was a
fan forum, right?
It was it was a fan forum primarily dedicated to discussion of HeroQuest. So it wasn't an offshoot thing on a forum that was more general or about some other topic. That was the main reason for the forum's existence, and it was one of the best places, maybe the only real places at the time to have the kinds of discussions that we now that you see some threads about on Yield In and stuff now. That was where you could find that kind of content way back when.
Ribby with the Dragon Ball Z. Yeah, because I was never part of Old Scratch. I remember hearing about it a lot. I think mostly just like in credits from stuff on Yield In, Phoenix's page, other people mentioning it. So that community was started in the 90s. I was not a part of like the online HeroQuest fandom probably until like the 2010s. So like I want to say 2017 is when I got back into it. And so by then it was like Dwayne Agen's was gone, Old Scratch was gone. But because there were a lot of websites.
Actually, that part of me was still vainly hoping that as I suddenly was like, oh, HeroQuest is going on again. I was kind of vainly hoping that the Old Scratch forum would still be there,
somebody
waiting for me, but it wasn't.
And was it who's the person that ran it? Was it Old Scratch himself, or I guess I never knew. There like one person?
It's been so long. I think there was someone called Old Scratch, at least at one point. That was their hand. I believe so. I can't remember for sure, though. It's been so long.
An Old Scratch retreated back to the computer.
Elvyler's here. Hey guys, how's it going? Yeah, good to have you. I was just gonna say, Elvyler, designer of many cool artworks that we use. Now, what you see before you, these are more things we've created, but always appreciate what he's able to do. And actually, Elvyler, it's great that you showed up because I didn't prep you for this. You have a new article that I thought was really cool.
Really interesting.
Yeah, and maybe a little spicy too, as they say. I actually went there. Yeah, because so well, Elvyler, do you want to jump in and chat with us, or do you just want us to like talk about you in front of you? I don't mind.
Just no offense or anything.
Yeah.
Just
Okay.
talk about you like you are here.
Like you are here,
Yeah.
yeah. So yeah, he does these really detailed articles, which I always appreciate that it shows like how long it takes to read it. It's shared on Avalon Hill Discord. Well, yeah, see that's the thing. So I don't know about how you guys feel, but like I consider myself a fan and a reporter first. So I love the fact that like Encarmine is on our Discord a lot, giving us info. But at the same time, like I'm not gonna sugarcoat stuff, and if there's some news, it's news. I'm not gonna like, ooh, maybe I better soften this up so that it's like, really, really positive. I mean, sometimes there's negative stuff too, so we cover it, try to be fair, and I think you do a good job of it as well. Yeah, that's fine. Okay, so yeah, this article, I'm just gonna throw it on the screen.
To it later, but I will say for films I'm not a big fan of, there's some real fun quotable stuff in those prequels.
Oh yeah, we were just well when we get to Star Wars, we can say more about that. But yeah, I don't hate the prequels. People think that I hate the prequels, but it's not true. I actually
There's
don't.
always a bigger fish.
Yeah, it's mostly just Episode 1 that I was disappointed with, and it's not the worst that Star Wars has to offer by any means.
I think hate's a strong word, right? People sometimes are a little too with it. Yeah, we can talk about all this when we get to that.
I'm okay going over
topic.
the top with hating media. It's like it's supposed to entertain you. It's supposed to fill you with joy. But some stuff it just gives me something to talk about, and it's all in a frame of reference too. It's not like, oh, I'm some toxic fan that just can never be pleased. It's no, I'm comparing it to something else I like,
Mhm.
and it's fair to do that because whenever you make a prequel or a sequel or a remake, it's going to be compared to the source material because otherwise, why did you make it? So I think that's
Hey,
totally fair. But anyway,
we tend to
ahead
get. Yeah, I was gonna say we will go on to this forever if we
forever.
dive into it.
Excellent.
Yeah, we've got 2 hours. So and StrangeBus, I know you've got stuff. So if you need to go, hey, anytime.
Oh no, well,
Key
Resident Evil
that.
4 officially unlocks at 10, but I will take the hour because
Oh, okay.
me and you tend to go for quite a long time on Star Wars topics. So
Yeah, well, yeah, it's kind of like if we run out of things to talk about, just start talking Star Wars, and we'll be good. Yeah. Okay. So, all right. Designer dialogue interview with 1992 ElfQuest pack designer. And why I thought this was good is, well, it's always nice to have Elvyler's take on things, but the fact that like if you look up HeroQuest and you're like, okay, I wonder who made this board game. Like, okay, you'll get Milton Bradley. Okay, what is Milton Bradley? Well, they're a subsidiary of um, Hasbro Gaming, a brand that's now defunct, but I mean it's all Hasbro now. It's like, okay, and who made it? Stephen Baker. Well, who's Stephen Baker? Well, he's this guy. It's like, and he goes through the history, and it's like, okay, Games Workshop, and who are they? Well, Citadel Miniatures, and Warhammer, and all that. And like, okay, so you read all that, but you don't get like a list of like, well, who wrote this quest and who designed this model. I mean, you can maybe if you dig really deep, you can start finding some stuff like that, but what Elvyler does is he goes into this article, and actually a lot of this stuff is kind of an open secret. Like a lot of people have kind of known this, but I mean not everybody. Like there's a small group of people that were talking about it, and yeah, some information was shared, especially on like Yield, and we had a little conversation. All right, okay, welcome back to the RantCast. We got StrangeBus, we got Karningul. Ribby is in the audience, so is Elvyler, Jacer J, Joe Kozier. Yeah, we're talking about so people wonder who made HeroQuest. Well, one of the people on it is actually interviewed in this really cool article that Elvyler did on Elvyler's Game Room. And I'm just going to kind of quickly go through it. I definitely recommend checking it out, read it through. So it's Kathryn L. Connors. So yeah, the name that's mostly associated with HeroQuest is Stephen Baker. He wrote most, if not all, of the early quests, I believe, for the game system. And then Brian Ansel was in charge of Games Workshop at the time. And there's like 2 other people that occasionally get mentioned. But yeah, one of these fans, he actually got his hands on drafts of like designer drafts, designer notes, photocopies, scribbles, just all this stuff from the Elf and Barbarian
Like
quest packs.
the hand drawn proofs of what the
Yeah, yeah,
punch out sheets were supposed to look like, all that kind of stuff.
yeah. You've seen them, so it's like, yeah. So you get to kind of get a glimpse into the world of what it is to make a board game, and on a budget and on a time crunch. Like, I mean, as I was reading it, like obviously I wasn't there. I don't know any of these people, but you almost feel like you can sense like the burnout they're feeling as they're trying to get these deadlines done. Because really, these are like the last official HeroQuest products, board game products that were released. And yeah, so this woman, she comes in and she was like at TSR, and they had her come in and she was writing the ElfQuest pack, and you can see like the early draft, and it's like they changed a lot of the stuff that she started with, but most of it is from her original draft. Like a lot of things did change, but a lot of stuff is still there. So it's really cool to kind of go through that. So yeah, I knew a lot of this stuff, but we kind of agreed that okay, we're going to kind of keep it quiet until a certain point. Little things came out, but yeah, just learning the history of a game that you enjoy playing and just kind of seeing kind of a post-mortem on it was really good. But yeah, the controversial part was supposedly she tried to contact Hasbro as the ElfQuest pack was getting remade and was kind of brushed off rudely, apparently, was the thing. And it was like, well, I don't know if they signed something back in the day saying that, okay, my name's not going to be on here. It just wasn't assumed that, oh yeah, you're going to have a list of credits on a board game. It's just, no, just the company
So
they
wait,
hired for a job.
she wasn't credited?
Right.
I don't think none of the
Yeah, none of them.
individual authors are like listed by name on the back of the box, that kind of thing.
Correct. So it's not like she was being treated any differently, but it was just kind of like, well, that's not
I think
cool.
conventions have changed, I think, in that regard over time, right? Like you bought a toy product back then, it would just say, this toy is manufactured by Milton Bradley. Tell you the names of the people who designed it, or
Snake Eyes, designed by Bill Johnson, and Steve,
it's different now. Like, you go to Reaper Minis, their website lists the designer of every single sculpt that they have for sale.
Right.
It tells you exactly who did the original design that the mass-produced miniature was based on. Like, I think it's just that it wasn't the convention back then.
Yeah. So I mean, it's not like a huge scandal. It's just kind of like, oh well. Of course, then it's like, okay, yeah, are you going to track down everybody that worked on it and give them all credit? But
you did say they were kind of like rudely dismissing it, right?
Yeah, and we don't know who that was. Was that just some lackey? I mean, not pointing any fingers, but and it's just
we don't
one
know,
side of a conversation too.
Right. We don't know we don't have the exact content of the conversation. We have one person's interpretation of it.
Got the impression that it was just kind of like, yeah, whatever.
So that's cool. I completely understand. But this is where I get like, because I've made my HeroQuest opinions like every once in a while, right?
Mm-hmm.
I wouldn't put it past a business to do that. Like, if somebody called asking for like credits for something. Now, granted, it, like you said, it's like a could go either way sort of situation because we really don't have any more details on it. But for me, my brain almost instantly because like, and that's been my whole life. That's not just because we have crap popping up nowadays with like oh my gosh, this company did this. I wouldn't put it past like a big corporation to try to just sweep it under the rug because they either just didn't think it was important or they didn't want to deal with it, or it like just wasn't like we don't have time to credit somebody from all the way back then. Like why are you calling us about this?
Yeah.
And it's kind of like one of those things with like, this goes further from like board games too. You know, you've got people in the voice acting business who have been fighting for crap like that for a very long time.
Yeah.
And so that's the only reason I ask. It's not like,
I mean, it's one thing
I'm
if somebody like
digging up controversies.
Yeah, it's one thing if somebody like didn't get paid for their work or, got screwed over. And it doesn't seem like that's what happened. It's just more like, well, they could have been nicer about it. And
Yeah.
I think some fans actually sent her like a complimentary, like they bought her a copy of it. Elvyler's pointing out we don't know when the conversation happened. They may have already had the materials printed already. With the Frozen Horror, it was like it was too late. That's why they had to do Enter the Northlands. And hey, it's a 28.8. Just got it. Yeah. So they had Into the Northlands as like a revised, like, okay, here's an errata for it. And then with the Mage of the Mirror, they already had the revisions, but still, it's like, well, it's not like a computer game where you can just throw in another patch and like, oh yeah, here it is. Like, fine, here's the other thing, upgrades. It's like, yeah, it's just going to be what it is. So yeah, we don't know the full context to that. So that's important to point out. But I could see how someone could read this and go, oh man, those jerks, you know. So it is what it is. But I appreciate that it's out there, because the bigger point is there's cutting room floor stuff, and you get her answering little questions about the elf pack, asking questions. One interesting little just tiny tidbit was the elven chainmail. Her original concept was that only the elf could use it, but in the version that was released, any hero could use it except the wizard. And in the new version, it's kind of ambiguous, like who actually can use it. I mean, the elf gets first crack at it, obviously, but
Yeah, and Ribby brings up a good question, which Elvyler kind of already responded to it. But if you have official knowledge of a credit, does it open up for you to pay something?
yeah,
And
it's like, okay, now they're going to have to pay everybody
depends on the contract.
royalties on the new release. Yeah, and I'm sure they're scraping for every penny they can get. I mean, I just have the impression that it's still a small corner of Hasbro's massive empire.
Oh yeah, for sure.
I mean,
Yeah,
which
like I said, they could go both ways.
Which is kind of to our advantage in a way, because we were talking in the community about how, like, okay, imagine down the line HeroQuest is like really, really big, and it's like there's a lot of money tied up in it, and so it's just like, okay, now we're gonna get like people wanting to get their fingers into it and like mess around, and you're gonna get a lot of like angry fans, like you get in some of these other big franchises, people fighting over it, and so it's kind of like, yeah, we don't want it to be so unpopular that it dies, but we also don't want it to be like so over engineered that it gets ruined by greed,
Yep.
Because I mean, it seems to be successful, but it's it's still pretty new. It's still kind of proving itself, I feel like.
I mean, I think Dread Moon is probably going to tell us a lot about where the demand is at material,
direction.
right?
Yeah.
Like
people love the mythic stuff, but I mean, it was such a small section, and it was more like a tease, like, well, this is stuff you could have had. It's like, wait, what? Oh yeah, give me new stuff, and yeah, all the Europeans are like buying up this stuff that they never got back in the day, and okay, but
and I mean, most people didn't get Frozen Horror and Mage of the Mirror back in the day,
Right.
Like it's one of those things where some, we talk about how what proportion of people actually, you had like the little marketing catalog thing, but did you actually have the physical product?
Yeah.
I knew one person who did have Frozen Horror, but I'd never seen an ElfQuest pack. I've never seen the classic one in flesh, so to speak.
Yeah,
I have reproduction.
Oh yeah.
Miniatures for Mage of the, like, this is one of the things, I think it was through Old Scratch. And this was the days before 3D resin printing. Like, I paid some guy in the United Kingdom to, I guess what he had presumably done is essentially made injection molds from. He'd gotten, people had not donated, had allowed him to take the, official miniatures and attempt to craft new injection molds out of them, and he had some access to some kind of, not professional standard plastic molding, but not terrible either. They've held up fairly well, although I actually haven't used all of them. I ended up using a lot of them more for D&D than I did for HeroQuest in the end, but I bought all these miniatures because it was like, I can't find, you cannot find a copy of this. So it's like, so is the demand, how much of the demand for some of those things is like that sort of almost nostalgic frustration?
Yeah, because if you were a collector, you would track down the original. You'd get it piece by piece until you had it, as opposed to like, well, why you or like what I did, like, I was putting together like a package. I was basically cleaning up my brother's old set. And I was like, well, we never had these. And it's like, okay, how much are they? Oh, they're like $1,000. Forget it. I was like, well, I can just get some other figures that kind of, look like a Yeti and the Yeti and look like a Polar War Bear and, some little like soldier guys. And I can paint them the right colors, put them in there, print out the, quests and stuff. And then, okay, they're there. We can play those too now, like really easily. It's all there. And that was a lot of fun to do that because I made little tweaks as I went around. Yeah, okay, catching up on comments. Yeah, ads for the expansions in my OG HeroQuest, but never actually saw them. Yeah, definitely. It's like you have all the pieces of the puzzle except the last one. It'd be like if there was a fourth Star Wars movie back in the 80s that like didn't come out, or it was out for just a day and he didn't get. It's like, oh man, if I could get that last VHS tape, I could find out what really happened, after the Death Star exploded. Elvyler says, StrangeBus, he picked up a copy of HeroQuest. Oh yeah, I'm just reading your guys' conversation. Yeah, his birthday. Yeah, it's pretty sweet. You were surprised, weren't you?
Oh yeah, like I was more than surprised because that's a lot of money. Like I cannot find it. You said it was like going down.
Yeah.
But like I visited my local retailer like the other day because I was picking up. I had to pick up a new monitor, and they had it up on the shelf and it was like $140.
Oh, it's way less than that online. I'm not trying to say like
So
I got it for you for nothing, man. It was free.
I was
It fell off a truck.
Oh god,
It got run over by a truck. No, but
looked really good because it was still in the wrapping and everything. So
well, I mean, I'm glad it's in stores now. But yeah, it's like 140. That's more than like Hasbro is selling it for. It's like 135.99 or something like that. So, but yeah, you can get it for like $98, or if you can find an even better deal.
Amazon has had occasion. I don't know if in the U.S. market necessarily, but I know that people have posted on the Discord that there have been some times when it's been at a serious markdown, limited periods.
Yeah. So yeah, I just saw my opportunity and like, hey, get you into this, especially after we were talking about the D&D debacle, and it's just like not feeling like supporting them for the foreseeable future. It's like I understand. So.
Oh yeah, because every time like you were talking before, and then you were like, "Hey, are you picking up HeroQuest?" I was like, "Yeah, I'm trying to scrounge up some money, unless like you're gonna help. I'm gonna buy it with my credit card." And you're like, "Oh, I don't think we can do that." And so like every other time you're like, "Are you buying HeroQuest yet?" And I'm like, "Yeah, I'm working on it." Every time I go buy it, something happens. Like my car
like a drug deal
breaks
or something.
Yeah, like I had something with my car. I had to do that.
I'm trying to get the money.
And like
get the money.
Kids' birthdays and Christmas, and
sure.
it was just all sorts of stuff just kept popping up. So like my HeroQuest fund, I'd get so close, and then I'd have to pull stuff out of the HeroQuest fund, and I was like,
yeah.
So my plan finally worked.
Right, that we don't know. We know that a lot of people might have wanted to grab these things.
Yeah.
Because they couldn't get them back in the day. Right. So few people actually could.
So now,
and then the secondary market prices blew up to insane levels that only the most sort of deep-pocketed or desperate individuals would be willing to pay.
Right. Well, and with a new product like Rise of the Dread Moon, or even Prophecy of Telor. Well, Prophecy of Telor, at least you've got. Well, this was a pledge exclusive that you could have gotten, so there's that. The one that got away, people want it because of that. But this Dread Moon thing, it's a brand new piece, so there's no nostalgia attached to it. Nobody that's writing it has anything to do with the original HeroQuest that we know of. I mean, I guess we don't know. we don't know if they're using internal designers for that one, or if they're hiring guest writers again, like they did with the mythic stuff. Because for the
I would
mythic,
imagine.
yeah,
I got the impression that this one's being done in house, right? Because I think Encarmine has made some kind of.
yeah, Chris Nato.
He's made some, I think, a sort of a veiled reference. That the folks at Avalon Hill want to flex their creative muscles too.
Well, that's true. He did say that, so it's probably not, and that's probably easier too. Like, let's say if they, well, depending on the contracts again, if they get like a guest writer and he writes something, it's like, well, it's only going to be for this specific exclusive or whatever, or do they have to pay him royalties? But I mean, Stephen Baker's still on board, still doing those commercials on YouTube for HeroQuest.
Mm-hmm.
So that's pretty sweet.
Which is pretty cool.
Yeah, Joe Kozier says I lucked out and got Return of the Witch Lord and Keller's Keep at a flea market and HeroQuest box for $10 total in '98, which is awesome. See, that's the time to buy something right when it dies. Just snap it up. Never knew
Yeah, I
about
mean,
the other 4 expansions till I found Yield in 2018. Yeah, I didn't know about that stuff either until like 2002. I'm like, Wizards of Morcar, what the heck is that? I didn't even know who Morcar was, and so I had to learn all that stuff in a hurry.
I knew about the original 4 that were, in the U.S. market. I had Kellers and Witchlord, and my friend had Frozen Horror, although I think it got beat up pretty good through being stored improperly.
Sure. Well, and I've learned a lot about just like fixing boxes and ironing out like bent tiles and all that stuff from talking to other fans, and it's really fun. Yeah, Joe Kozier, that's a cool story. And then Elvyler says the Avalon Hill guys are all fans too. They get to make their own homebrew official. Yeah, Morcar was the original name of the evil wizard bad guy, and then he got changed to Zargon in North America. And Zargon's actually the name of, I forget the name of the D&D campaign, but he's this big like weird mutant demon creature. So like it all comes together, and then Grimdead in Japan. But one thing I wanted to talk about, acknowledge, we didn't mention it before, but Chris Nato actually had a birthday himself not too long ago. So happy birthday, belated. And there was a picture that he shared on the Discord, which it's funny because like every time he shows up, they're like, okay, he's gonna be start dropping clues. He's gonna be speaking in code. We got to decipher what he's saying, and that's gonna tell us about the new expansion. Because he's always teasing the different things about the next release. So yeah, he showed this picture. If I can get the picture to pop up, it.
Yeah, I believe that's Encarmine. Yeah.
Yep. Encarmine, Lord Encarmine, Chris Nato. I was calling him Chris Nadieu, giving him a French pronunciation on there, but and then I was corrected. It's like nope. All right, so let's go again.
Ah,
Oh, that's not the right one.
Ribby with all those awesome zingers today.
Yeah. Category 5, Chris Nato. I don't know that his views do not represent the views of any firms or persons living or dead, or necessarily of the company or its affiliates. Okay, so he's got this picture here, and it's showing obviously a really posed scene, but it's funny. Like, so you got the birthday celebration, you got all these D&D dice, and then of course you got this like kids toy. It's all kids toys, Kurgan. Yes, it is. But anyway, you got this funny monster in the center. Someone was pointing out that the wizard over here, like all the monsters are looking at the wizard. So what does that mean? Oh, do these dice like spell out something? Like if you zoom in, or what are these Lego figures? What do they mean? But then there's these sketches over here. So they've got some sketches of a barbarian. I was gonna say Chaos Warlock, but
That's the
Dread
mythic.
Sorcerer.
It's the Dread Sorceress from the Mythic tier, I think.
Oh yeah, I guess it is the female one. What's left of her anyway. And then the Gargoyle. There's the Witch Lord on his Witch Lord throne. Yeah. So anyway, and this quest, like anytime they put out pieces like this, I always like compare it. It's like, nope, this isn't any existing quest. So it could have been something they just posed it, or maybe that's one of the quests, But we have no way of knowing. That's the thing. It's not like we can guess. So the guessing game is very contrived. It's just kind of like, and it's Rise of the Dread blank until we guess the right word. So it's kind of
Chrisnado.
silly, but it's fun.
Rise of the Dread Chrisnado.
Rise of the Dread Chrisnado. So I also want to show you something that Ribby came up with. So as you know from some of our recent HeroQuest fan streams, he did the Mentor bot, which lets us roll virtual dice, which is pretty awesome. Also, I got to ask you, Ribby, we should probably put on something so that Mentor bot will like announce when the stream is starting, because that's always something I kind of scramble to do at the last second.
If MentorBot can do that. If not, there are other bots you can throw in that will just have basic privileges that can announce your stream.
I'm just cheap, and I don't like to spend a lot of money on the stream, just time. So yeah, if possible. I mean, I think it's always cool when people do stuff for us. I mean, I can't thank you guys enough. But anyway, the latest thing, I need to put these images into an art book and sell it. Yeah, I'd go for it, Elvyler. Say Ribby says, I need to figure out how to do that. There's definitely a way to do that. Discord bots can respond to events such as streams going live. Yeah, and we don't want it to be annoying, of course. And with my stream, knowing me, it's probably going to be like, and he's streaming a few minutes later, and he's streaming because I stopped and restarted. But at least people know, because I always get messages, oh, I didn't know you guys were streaming. Like people are having a conversation and one or the other. And it's like, okay, it's not for everybody, but I mean, it can be if you want to join us. So anyway, so the latest thing that Ribby did was these virtual dice. It's actually a website. It's not perfect, but it's pretty cool. It's called dddice.com. So dddice, and you can create an account, and it's a little bit annoying because you have to use like a social media or gamer thing.
3Ds. dddice, right? dddice.com.
Oh, you're right. It's dddice. So there's 3Ds. My bad. Yeah, because there's another one that may not be it. So don't look that one up at work just in case.
Yeah, it might be something not right.
Not something we are endorsing here at RantCast. So all right, so let me just see if I can actually roll the dice on the screen without it glitching out. So it's basically set for your D&D style dice, but you can. You guys seeing anything?
Not yet. Oh, yep, there they are.
Hey.
There you go.
Yeah, it showed up.
Oh, no, I'm just have to move out of the way.
Nuts.
I see 3 white shields.
Oh, that's a wrestling move. I put him through a table. Yeah.
So, you're going straight to the tables?
Yeah, get the lighter fluid. So yeah,
I like to do the RKO. RKO is my favorite.
Yeah, the RKO is a pale imitation, the true master of the diamond cutter.
Oh yes. Yeah. Anyway, so it's a website that you can go to, and Ribby's got a room. I've got a room. Tommy Wiseau's got a room, but yeah, you can actually go there and you can roll dice with us if you want. So I figure we can try that out in the next game, see if we like it.
We're back.
And we're back.
Oh yeah, okay, it's working again. Might just be how it goes this week.
Stop doing whatever it is you're doing. Stop.
Suck. Just gonna kill it. Well, maybe it just uses like tons of bandwidth or something. Who knows? Well, anyway, that's Ribby's dice roller. Well, actually, if it does put a lot of strain on the server, we might not be able to use it much. But we've still got MentorBot. Yeah, so looking forward to seeing how it goes on stream for Saturday. Yeah, because we'll use it, and if it's not working out, we've got MentorBot to do our dice rolls. But the point is, we want everybody to have the fun of having some dice. Not everybody has a camera that they want to point at, some dice that they're rolling or wait for me to roll. So
Cool.
yeah. So let's see. And then so we've got Prophecy of Telor. We still don't know when that's coming out. We don't know precisely when Rise of the Dread Moon is coming out. I think some countries have had pre-orders, but we're thinking June. Is that what we heard? June?
We're guessing.
Yeah.
It's it would. I think that would roughly fit the pattern, but like, it's not like this is an exact science. There could be. Maybe this one could take a little longer to develop than some of the previous ones,
Right.
since it's original content. Who knows?
Yeah. Well,
there could be a production snag making the miniatures this time around that didn't happen last. There's all kinds of stuff variables that we really
don't
know
know
about.
Yeah. Yeah, and I get the impression that they do have them they're staggered releases. So by the time we're hearing about it, it's probably pretty much done already.
Yeah.
And so of course that's the thing, like everybody always comments and go, you put the stairs in the wrong place, or oh that looks stupid. And so then they're like scrambling to try to fix it, but they don't really fix it, or they have to fix it after the fact.
Yeah, you forgot to put a door into this room.
Right. They had to do a lot of that, actually. I mean,
Mythic Tier had a bunch of typos,
little
like
typos. I mean, most of them weren't a big deal.
something hadn't gotten transcribed into the map
Right.
from the original designer's mock-up or whatever.
And anybody that's written like term papers in school knows that you can do all the editing you want, and you're still gonna like turn it in. And I missed like some stupid thing, Even my editor didn't get it, because you look at it 100 times and your mind just starts to ignore it. But yeah, and most of that stuff didn't affect gameplay. It's just like when Zargon reads it, he's gonna be like, and then just fix it, and the heroes will be like, whoa, this is amazing. Right now things are positive, and yes, the people at Avalon Hill, they seem to be fans themselves. So now as fans, we can be pretty opinionated, and we can be pretty like, no, it's my way. I got into a little bit of a back and forth with Avalon Bill on the Avalon Hill Discord, because he
yes, about courage.
Okay, so the courage spell. So you've got these different editions of HeroQuest. In the very first version, you had your spells and your potions were pretty much the same. The healing spells in the treasure deck were the same as the healing spells you had in the magic. And courage was just like the potion of strength. And rock skin was just like the potion of resilience, which became the potion of defense. But as the second edition came out, they modified a lot of the spells. So it was like, instead of courage just giving you one strong attack, it was all of a sudden strong attacks indefinitely until you can't see monsters anymore.
Until you ran out of monsters.
Right. And just like rock skin, instead of defending you one time really strong, it defended you until you took damage. So it's like, okay, it's been modified. But then the North American version comes out, and it's very similar wording to the European version, but they start talking about seeing, like monsters you see. So monsters visible versus monsters see. What does that mean? Well, in the European version, it was like everything was like auto aim. So you're in a room, you can see every monster. It's the only time you have to worry about aiming, like with drawing a straight line from one figure to another, is when you go into a corridor, because something could be in the way, or like when you're looking through a doorway. So when you're aiming, like missiles and weapons. So it gets kind of weird, because in the European version, second edition, you could be in a room. Let's say there's a bookcase and you're right up against the bookcase and there's a goblin on the other side. You could fire the crossbow and hit him. So it's like, are you like punching through it? Are you ricocheting off the wall? What is it? Firing up in the air. So the North American version, no, you couldn't do that. You actually have to flank around and then draw a straight line. It's just a gaming convention. That's how it is. But I mean, like in Space Crusade, which was a European game, you had to do that. You always had to trace straight lines from figure to figure. So he's answering this question, and it's like the wording of the remake version of Courage was changed slightly to say line of sight specifically instead of just seeing. But it really didn't change the meaning. But his answer was weird, because it's like he wanted to answer it in such a way as to say both the European version and the American version were correct. So it's like it only lasts for one attack, and it lasts until it's canceled by the fact that you can't see monsters anymore. I'm like, how can that even? That doesn't even make sense. So I just thought, was he confused, or Are they making up a new rule now that they just didn't tell us before? Because a lot of people will just say, well, it doesn't matter what the designers intended. The fact is what they actually wrote. Kind of like when George Lucas wants to come back and say, well, I always intended that this was supposed to happen. It's like, yeah, but that's not in the movie. So the viewer is free to just imagine whatever they want.
I mean, I think both of them can be useful. I think it's not,
Sure.
you don't need to be an uncritical follower of either, but it can be nice to know. It's like, okay, what did they want? What did they mean to happen? Do I personally think that it's good design? That's what I do all the time. I'm like, I do want to know why they did stuff.
Oh yeah.
What were they trying to achieve?
I do.
And then you look at it and you say, well, is this well tailored to that purpose?
Right. Yeah, and I definitely give some deference to that. Like if they give me something that's broken, it's like, okay, well, what were you trying to say with this? Here's my explanation. Okay, good. But if it's worked all this time, I mean, no offense to those guys, but they didn't make HeroQuest. Like, it's already been made.
Right.
And yes,
but they also didn't. They didn't invent that problem. They could have fixed it and didn't. They could have clarified it and some didn't.
Yeah, if they were intending to do it a different way, it's almost like they just and I can understand the logic of it. It's like they started with the original texts. Like the original texts are everywhere. And so now they're just going to go through and replace every time it says chaos, they're going to replace it with dread with the word find and the word replace. So they do that. It's boilerplate, right? And so they were more likely to add on rather than change, unless they're just like replacing one word. And so most of the time it works, and it's like, okay, that preserves sort of the integrity and the nostalgia of it. But yeah, if they were going to go in and like just revise something, it was almost like at that stage they were afraid to do that, or they were holding back from doing that. Now it seems like they're more bold to just change it if they think it needs changing. But back then they weren't. So maybe that's that. Maybe they did intend to nerf it. But I think a lot of players, at least other than the very first edition, are used to like, no, courage is like a really cool spell because it lasts and lasts. And if you can just keep those monsters in sight, you can keep it going. But yeah, I mean, if you want to play it that way and say, yeah, it's just good for one, that's it. But
yeah, and I think but again, that's the beauty of a game like HeroQuest is at your table you can run courage however you think you want to.
And he turned around after I gave him a hard time, and a couple other people did too. He was just like, yeah, but you can do whatever you want. It's like, okay, call off the hound, leave me alone.
Yeah.
Stop.
I mean,
that what I say usually.
Yeah,
is
I
that
mean,
like
I've had to call that one out. The courage spell. I've got, my little document of stuff that I can give a player so that if they're like, hey, wait, the wording on this is ambiguous. What does this actually do? It's like, oh yeah, I wrote up an answer to that. Courage has been on there since the beginning.
Yeah. What were you
where
gonna
I say, yeah, sorry, StrangeBus, go ahead.
No, you're okay. I was just saying, but like it's kind of like what I've asked about that before. I think I brought this up with you, Kurgan, doing one of our podcasts prior. Is that really at the end of the day, your imagination is the limit with that game. It's not like you just do whatever you want. Like I don't know. I've talked to a couple people. I've had actually arguments with people who've played D&D who were big like rule followers. Like you had to follow every rule in that book.
It's a weird dynamic that developed that I noticed develop kind of online, and I'm sure you probably run into it in person sometimes too, but it's tended to be more of an online thing in my experience of that once upon a time it was just kind of understood that like every table was unique and would kind of have their own little quirks and things that worked for them.
Mm-hmm.
And now there's this attitude that stuff is supposed to be portable, and in order for that to happen, everyone has to be playing by the same rules. And it's like, but that's never been how this game works, ever.
Well, and
then I can't understand that either. Like I never I understand the base rules, right? Like you have to have something grounded, but like it's either with this game, with D&D or something like that. Like the whole point to me has always been like, especially for kids, is like your imagination is the limit. Like if there's something you don't know, find it out. But like at the same time, I don't kill the flow of the game to say, oh no, you can't do that. You can't do that. Let's comb the manual for 30 minutes.
Yeah, that's called
And
rules lawyering. Nobody likes that.
and
You're not supposed to do
yeah,
that.
like
It's bad etiquette.
it's
Yeah.
I was always told like I said, it could be different. I was always especially when I first started D&D, like when I started playing Dungeon Master, was if you don't know something, or if there's something like, because you'll get a lot of people ask questions like,
Yeah.
well, can I do this? And you don't know it off the top of your head, write it down and then follow your best judgment.
Yeah.
Like, you know,
say, right, we're gonna handle it like this for now. I'll look it up after the session.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mini
because
game
at the end of the
sessions.
day, you make
come
the rules.
back. You come back next week. Guys, I read the rules. Turns out, actually, this is how they wanted it. Oh, okay. Well, but even when you're playing cards, like it's like, okay, Joker's wild. You say something at the start to say, yeah, I know, like we agree on the main stuff, but there's a couple things that are different. So I try to be conscious of that, and I can do a better job, but I try to be conscious of that because I know that HeroQuest fans were playing people from the community. People are coming from all walks of life, and they had their own house rules or their own version of the rules. And it's like, I want to clarify that stuff. Like, okay, here's how I'm doing it. So they're not like, yeah, they have this master plan. And it's like, oh, it's all screwed up because I thought courage worked like this and it's completely different.
Well, and like
now I gotta run
you've
away.
had a couple people, like, I don't know if, and they've been pretty cool about it. It's where like you've been like, hey, I've got these extra things and you can do, if you want to, roll for what do we call this again?
Uncommon
The
feat.
uncommon feat. Yeah, we have the
Yeah.
uncommon feat. And they're like, yeah, no, I'm good. And like, but yeah, but they'll
That's
keep
fine.
playing,
Yeah.
and that's
Not gonna
and
like,
that's
oh, you've ruined the game. I'm leaving.
yeah, or like, you also get people who love the uncommon feat and will use it a whole bunch to where you've had to say, oh, no, we're going to have to,
Yeah. Yes.
I've had to talk to you. We've had to talk a couple times on what we could do to make it a little bit more, less abusive. Where people are like, can I just roll for an uncommon feat? And you're like, that's like your 8th uncommon feat.
Yeah.
Like,
One to a customer, pal. Yeah.
I don't.
Right.
I don't know if that still goes on, but that was like back when I was still doing the simulcast.
Yeah.
And like, there'd be people who were excited and like they were getting to jams and they'd be like, yeah,
Well,
let me common feat for it. And you're like, no.
Well, and you know how it is, like your friends will tease you. So I mean, I get people that are trying to kind of push my buttons a little bit. It's like, oh, see if you can handle it. Like I'll get him to change that rule because now. So I mean, I don't mind putting me through my paces. Elvyler says maybe they should select a few super fans, do some special playtesting. Interesting, you would say that. I think that sounds like a good idea, and I'm sure they've probably thought of that. Elvyler also says it could be both if it's cast on a character and all monsters either run out of sight or are killed before the target of the spell could attack. See, I think that's probably what he was going for. You cast the spell, but now Zargon has a way to like defeat it by like, okay, move all the monsters out of the room, quickly. Because okay, you cast the spell, it's not like the wizard could cast it on himself, so now he doesn't get to use it until his next turn. But more than likely, it's like, oh, he'll cast it on the barbarian, but does the barbarian come after him, or did he already have his turn? Zargon gets a turn next. So there's all these variables. I took it to mean you cast it, and then whenever he attacks, whenever that is, that's when it starts. And then as long as he has monsters. But yeah, if you just say it starts immediately. But it's hard to cram all that onto one card. And it's just supposed to be a simple game that you can get into that, 9-10-year-olds can figure out. So, yeah. I'm going to keep playing it the way I've been playing it. If anything, I make it even more lenient than Hasbro did back in the day. Because I'll let you like kill all the monsters and then run into the next room with your movement and still see some more monsters. But even with all that in place, the one time I got into a bit of an argument with my players was Icarith was playing and I'm trying to think who else. Yeah, I forget the guy's name. But yeah, a good friend, and I don't remember his in-game name, so I'm not going to say it. I'm not going to guess. But anyway, yeah, the three of us, it was just like, wow, that sucked. Because I was in the perfect position to move my Chaos Warriors like around the corner so they couldn't be seen. So it was like, no more courage.
Mm-hmm.
And then they were just like, dang, it was a fair move, but that sucked. Because you get all excited. You're like, yes, now I'm gonna like clean house with this spell. It's like, no, you're not. So yeah, it happens sometimes. But I mean, as Zargon, like you learn to be a gracious loser because I mean, yeah, you can murder everyone, but there's only so many times you just keep restarting the quest. Eventually it goes on. And I'm not saying I pull my punches. You'll never know whether I do or not. But I try to give people a good run for their money. It's my philosophy. And we have a whole section of Discord where we talk about spoilers and we talk about different philosophies. Some GMs will be like, "Well, no, I'm not trying to kill the heroes. I'm just trying to facilitate them completing the quest." And then others will be like, "No, I'm trying to wipe them out. I'm within the constraints of what it's set." Because I guess you could design a quest that was so hard that no one could ever win it. But would that really be fun, for anyone besides you? So there's different philosophies. But the fact that we have all
I
these
mean, I
official
did that.
quests. Yeah.
I did that when I was 12.
Oh yeah. Who didn't?
And it's
Yeah.
like, right. And it's like, yeah, it was fun for me. It wasn't any fun for the people that I cajoled into actually playing it.
Right. It's like,
Especially because it was like a gotcha thing where, like they searched for treasure and then a whole bunch of super tough monsters pop out of nowhere. And like,
yeah. Yeah. When
You
it,
know,
I
it
would say
wasn't-
make
it-
a challenging dungeon, like
yeah.
like do ones that are
boring.
easy, but like within reason, like challenging, but unless you really want heroes are like, yeah, come on, punish me, and
What are you
you don't-
waiting for?
yeah, kill me. Yeah, you don't really need
Yeah. You get the
the
braggart.
Dark Souls of HeroQuest.
Yeah, you get the braggart characters where like they complete the 14 quests and they're like, yeah, they've got the helmet and the plate armor and they've got the battle axe and the crossbow and they're like, it's such an easy game. And you're like, okay, fine. Like, you want a challenge? All right, I got a challenge for you. Get your challenge right here.
And then you get people in chatter like Zargon monster, Zargon monster, Zargon monster.
Well, the interactivity trumps all because you could have the hardest quest in the world, and if people are dedicated to helping with their channel points, the way we've got it set up, they could keep throwing in potions. And it's like, I feel like I got to have somebody on standby. Like, listen, they're getting too many potions. I need you to get in here, get me some monsters. It's like, okay, so where does this end? It just goes forever. But that's how we play. Yeah, Predator. So I add some extra toughness to the quest to the point that the heroes have to use potions and spells. Well, that's the thing. I mean, every battle could be a fight for your lives, but you got to know your audience. You got to read the room. So you've got people that are just very, very casual or very young, learning the game, and then you got other people that are just, yeah, trying to.
That's relatable, Elvyler.
I don't try to beat my heroes. I get in trouble if I make my kids cry. Yeah, then I know I've truly won.
I also might lose equipment if I make my kids cry, so they're not.
Yeah.
They play the simple games for now.
Yeah. Yeah. So I mean, you gotta toughen the kids up, but at the same time, yeah, you don't want to like put them off games, by just totally just crushing their spirits. In general, it's like give them a chance to play as Zargon. I kill everyone. Ha ha ha. It's like, oh, that's not what I meant. In general, if I don't add some decently tough evil wizard cards the heroes own, I can't have that. Yeah. So there's a balance, and it's an art. It's a fine art. I like it because yeah, HeroQuest is not heavy on storytelling unless you want it to be. It's much more about exploring the dungeon, lots of dice battles, and then there's usually like at least one strategic moment where it's like, okay, if I use this potion and then you run in, and then I'm gonna cast this other spell, and then you're gonna be over here, and then I'm gonna shoot the guy. It's like, okay, is it gonna work? It worked. It failed. And those are the fun moments. Prophecy of Telor actually has quite a bit more lore than the players are used to, says Ribby. Yeah, I agree with that. Prophecy of Telor, I think, is going to be a good one. I mean, Stephen Baker, he definitely went out of his way to add a lot of like detail into it. So instead of just, oh yeah, this monster has this many body points, it's like, oh, this is so and so, and he says this. There's like a little moment, and so you can weave that little storyline into it. And in between quests, stuff happens. So it's much more of that role play light as opposed to just dice rolling combat game, skirmish game, whatever. because the original 14 quests, you had like a gimmick in each quest, and that made it unique. But after that, it's like, okay, now what do you do? So you've got the quest packs that are designed to just destroy you, and then there's a lot of ways that you can make those quests fun. But yeah, it's all good. So do we have more that we want to say about HeroQuest tonight, or is it time to move on to our next topic?
You know me. I'm raring to go.
Okay. So there are people out there that have been talking a lot of trash about Disney, and that's nothing new for me. I've been very critical of their creative and policy decisions over the last several years. But I want to make one thing clear. I love Star Wars, but I'm not the type of person that tries to be unreasonable about it. And I'm not saying any of you are, but there are people out there that, like, you can't say anything bad about Star Wars. And if you do, you're like, get out of here. Like,
What? What? Did you say something bad
get
about
out.
Star Wars?
Kill him.
Hey,
Off with his head.
hey, I'm looking at you. Don't you dare say anything bad about Star Wars.
Yeah. Well, there's also, I know that before the Disney sale, there were a lot of people that were mad at George Lucas, like personally. They're like, how you've ruined Star Wars. I'm not one of those people either, because I was very disappointed with episode 1, but I liked a lot of aspects of episode 2 and 3, and I defended them. Now, I didn't go so far as some other people. I remember there were people that were bashing the original trilogy, like to try to defend the prequels. It's like, I didn't go that far. It's like, what are you doing? That doesn't even make sense. It's like, Star Wars sucks, and that's why I love the prequels. Like, what? Because there was a lot of similarities between the two sets of movies, and that was done on purpose. It's like poetry, it rhymes, all that stuff. So it was obviously trying to evoke something that people remembered and enjoyed about the originals in the new movies with new technology and money and electricity and money and all that. But then when the sequels came out, you had a lot of people that I feel like would have been the ones who defended the prequels now trashing those and praising the new movies. And so it's like, okay, not everyone, but there's like the sort of fair weather fan. Like every time there's a change, you've got people in both extremes. You got people that are like, they hate the thing that's new just because it's new, or they love the thing that's new just because it's new and then hate the thing that just happened. And companies do this too, where they deliberately like trash their old products so that you throw that in the trash and get the new one. But I don't know, it's really weird. But there's a lot of people that are saying, okay, there's rumors of like layoffs and canceled projects and all this stuff. And, is Kathryn Kennedy going to get kicked out? Of course, people have been saying that for years. People are hoping for stuff. But have you guys heard anything about Disney Star Wars, or what do you think's really happening? Or do you think it's just a lot of hype, or just general economic downturn because of people not spending as much on theme parks and movies and stuff?
Well,
I know it's a lot to unpack there.
let's see. As of, and this is if we're talking about just layoffs in Disney, right?
Mm-hmm.
Or are you just talking about like Lucasfilm in general?
Well,
right, because we gotta be particular, right? Because
yeah.
that's something that's always been a rumor mill that I've always heard of. Like, right, like we're always holding off. So if we're looking at,
Try to be objective.
yeah. So as of, take a look here. As of right now, it would just be Disney that's laying off people in general. Yeah, as of February. So, but that's Disney as a whole, I believe. So it's 4,000, and this is according to many news sites, right? So I'm pulling from the Detroit News. Take it as you will. But you can also grab CNBC. There's like major news networks that are going to be reporting this as well. So it's a company wide 7,000 cuts. So, and that was Bob Iger announced that. So,
Hmm.
it looks like it's going to be upper management, maybe too. Just from what I can tell, I'm not completely sure. And he's also given Bob Iger's given a couple statements as well. So it's not going to be frontline people or anything. So he's not cutting any like lower end people in the theme park. I'm guessing it's probably going to be bigger people right now. Because the park is making a crap ton of money. So cutting lowest paid workers right now would be horrible. And Disney World's minimum wage is $15 an hour.
Hmm. Yeah.
So I would say, as far as the Star Wars front goes, you can take it with a grain of salt. If you want my personal opinion, I stopped holding the candle to old Star Wars as compared to new Star Wars a long time ago. So yeah, I didn't particularly like the newer movies. Me and you always go back and forth on some of those. Like,
We do.
I didn't mind The Force Awakens. The Last Jedi for me was okay. Yes, I found problems with it. I didn't find it a disaster in film like some people did. It was watchable. If I were to pop it in and watch it again, yeah, I would like watch it. I may fall asleep depending on how tired I am. But it's like it's not what's missing from me in that film is its replay value, right? Like a
Yeah.
good movie, a movie you can get up and say, "Man, that was fucking great," is a movie that will make you get up and want to watch it again later. So, yeah, Joe Kosher, that's exactly it. The Space Leia thing killed it for me. Like I said, I sat in the theater and literally was talking. I openly spoke, and I was like, "Why? Isn't Carrie Fisher gone? Like they couldn't write this out. It would have
Yeah.
made more sense."
Well, it's kind of
But
like the Wakanda Forever. Like, I was just like, why do you got to make a movie about the character that the actor played dying because the actor died?
so,
Like, yeah, do something different than what they did. It just was really
well,
awkward and
and
weird.
I mean, I kind of get it with Wakanda Forever because they had not intended that be the end of that character.
We'll just recast him.
Yeah, I mean,
yeah,
it's yeah. I mean, I
They've
think
done it
I
with
think it's
other.
defensible. Yeah, but I do think it's It's one thing because you had creative differences with an actor. It's another when they were considered to have nailed the role. You had a great relationship, and then they have an untimely death. I could see it being
Yeah.
seen as disrespectful to recast them.
See, I mean, respectfully, I don't agree with that because, okay, so you make a documentary tributing, Chadwick Boseman, what a great guy, we loved him, he was Black Panther, yay, and then
And
we
maybe
cast
he
him.
was contacted. Maybe he was contacted to say, "Hey, like, or maybe he, could. Maybe they couldn't in the time frame." That's a thing. It's like there's a lot of lot of empty holes in there.
Well,
It's
true.
like for me, there's also empty holes in The Last Jedi with that too. Like, a lot of the writers were probably put under pressure. And who the hell brings the guy from Batman versus Superman in for The Rise of Skywalker? Like, that confuses me the most. Like I don't know what on
Wait, Zack
paper.
Snyder, or no,
No, it was a writer for that, I believe.
Josh Whedon, Joss
I,
Whedon.
I think that's you're gonna have to look that up. But like I know that's one of the people who did the script or something like that. He was
I
in.
wouldn't. Yeah,
He did something for Batman versus Superman. Like I feel like if you're gonna have your Star Wars movie and it's your fixable Star Wars movie, right? The one that's supposed to fix whatever everybody found was awful about the last one. Like,
and it's sort of
uh,
too late at that point to me. But
Yeah.
I
you
mean,
can't just
I
fix a movie that's already happened. Like,
Well,
well,
Cats
and
had an
like I
update in
said,
the
like
theater, but yeah,
this
other than
is
that,
this is the overall group
I mean, with a
discussion, right? So
subsequent movie, right? You can't
if
go, well,
you're
that last movie didn't land. We'll just make another one, and that'll somehow make it okay. Like,
no,
it doesn't
so
really work like that.
you had two heads for episode 9 originally. one of them was fired. Like, I think, was it the producer or the director that was gone, and they had to bring J.J. Abrams back in. So that movie was a fucking disaster zone before they even like started shooting.
And it always felt like an ego battle to me, because like Abrams, when he did the first 7, the first of the new trilogy, he was like, I don't know what they're going to do next, but I'm going to leave all these breadcrumbs and they can pick up whichever ones they want to, and sort of follow them and do whatever they want with them.
Yeah,
and then what's his face? Rian Johnson came in and was like, I'm not interested in any of the breadcrumbs, so I'm just going to step on all of them. And then
you guys are absolutely gonna hate me for that. Like when I say, and like I said, I'm holding the movies as like a placeholder, right? I'm not even gonna get. My main point is going into the TV shows and all the shit they've released in the last, I don't know, since 2015.
TV shows.
But like, so this is what makes me, like I said, I believe in various types of Star Wars fans. Like I said, Kurgan's the guy who watches the 3 movies, and he loves the 3 movies, and that's where he stands. I mean, you've watched the other stuff, Kurgan, but like, there are people who have watched 1 through 6. They may like or not like the prequels, but that's their Star Wars, right? They may read books, they may like the expanded universe. Up until right about the last couple of years, I have to watch everything and see if I like it or not. I cannot go off of other people's opinion. So and it was a guilty pleasure for me. So if it was bad, I dredged through it and then was like, whatever. I got up and left the theater. But I think something clicked in 2019, just about after the Rise of Skywalker. I sat for my first, the first showing, and it blazed past me so fucking fast that when I got up, I couldn't tell if that was a good or bad movie. I had to watch it halfway through again before I got back up and was like, no, like, this is not great. And, like I said, when I walked into all 3 of those movies, and that's how I can tell that they're not good, is I don't hold a candle to them from the originals. I walk into those like those are the only 3 Star Wars movies I've ever seen. And if you can't do Star Wars safely and unsafely, then you just can't do it. I think Abrams had a strong start with The Force Awakens. It introduced some new characters, and like you said, he was leaving stuff for everybody else.
Mystery box.
Rian Johnson makes good film. I will defend the fact that he makes good film. His personal opinion should be kept to himself, and I think that he doesn't do good Star Wars. As much as I thought,
I think he fundamentally misjudged what a lot of audience wants to see when they go to see a Star Wars movie.
Yeah, so he incorporated the Rian Johnsoning into Star Wars, which is like I said, have you ever seen Knives Out? Which is I think his most.
I've seen Knives Out. I
film.
love Knives Out.
Yeah, great.
I haven't seen The Glass Onion yet.
It would be like if M. Night Shyamalan tried to do Star Wars. He tries to put his own personal like twist or spin into it, and then he did it way too hard, I think, which is like, well, what if Snoke was dead? Like, Rey didn't come from anywhere. How about that, motherfucker? Go into the next movie not doing anything. Like,
I think, yeah, that was what I was getting at, though, is that JJ tried to sort of scatter these little trails that his successor could follow, and Rian was like, not only, like, it was more than just, I'm not going to pick up that trail. It was like, I'm going to make a deliberate effort within the story to demonstrate that was not even a trail at all. It was a false trail. Mm-hmm. He had to take the time cinematically to point that out. And it's like, okay, right. But then Abrams took back over and was like, well, I don't like the way that Johnson, destroyed all my little breadcrumb trails, so I'm just going to bring them back. It's like, what?
So yeah, and that's what I'm saying. It's like we had I can't remember who was originally supposed to do 9, but
There were supposed to be 3 different directors, right? Originally, wasn't it?
Yeah, and like I said, he did something stupid and got removed, or he was busy or something. But I'm kind of staying on the sequel topic a little bit too long. But the biggest part is that, like I said, with Rian Johnson, I don't hate the man for making a bad film. It's the fact that he tried to do something really different with Star Wars, and just kind of didn't read the room going in. I think he went in saying, "This is going to be my story. I'm going to tell it, and I want the next person to go in." Or he thought, maybe they'll get me for the next movie, and I'm going to be able to tell that story, or they're going to be able to pick up where I left off.
Well,
And
they talked about
in
him doing his
Hollywood,
own
that's not
trilogy.
surprising.
Yeah.
Yeah, and like I said, in Hollywood, that's not surprising. A lot of directors and big people like to do that. They like to put their own fucking spin on something because they like to make it unique. And he didn't read the room and fucked up. And and then with Abrams again going into 9, I feel like they asked him to come back and he was like, "Wait, what?" It's okay. I guess I'm just writing the safe fangirly Star Wars that, somehow Palpatine returned, and
Which would be
you can
fine if it
now
was like a comic book or a video game, maybe.
you can now light speed jump, and you can, yeah, Ribby, just somehow.
Somehow.
And that possible romance that everybody hated, that didn't work, and we're gonna shove that actor all the way to the side.
Ray,
Or
I never
actress
told
all the way.
you. I never told you. Never mind. It's private. Can't tell you.
Never mind. Yeah. Oh yeah, and then that thing.
Remember when
Yeah,
people were saying like that he and what's his name? I can't even think
dude.
of the
Okay, Joe.
pilot.
That's where I'm sorry. That's where I'm gonna disagree, because I think Kylo Ren probably saved most of that shit for me. Adam Driver, this is just personal opinion, probably did the most action or most acting
He
in the
acted the
Rise of Skywalker.
shit out of that role.
He
Like
actually,
fucking played 2 people
you're gonna be
in that role. And
surprised.
all.
You're gonna be surprised to hear me say that I agree with you. That he was trying like really, really hard.
Yeah,
I think
and
he had
like,
terrible material to work with, but
Mm-hmm.
but so did, like, okay, and
I'd never
I'm gonna
see
bring this back.
none of these actors I'd seen in anything else before, so I have nothing to compare it
Um,
to. But
have
yeah,
you
I was
ever
just like,
seen
wow.
Hayden? Have you ever seen Hayden Christensen in Like a House before his days in Star
Oh yeah,
Wars?
I didn't like that one, but I
That
did.
okay, but I thought he acted the shit out of that role.
Well, he
Did
did.
a really good job
He
for
was
a
like
kid.
a troubled,
And
yeah, kid.
so, like, when a lot of people tell me that they hate him for it, I have to, like, kind of, I'm not like a fanboy in any means with that. I just have to, well, why do you hate him? Like, is it because of the material he was given for Star Wars, or was it like,
I don't hate
you
him. I
know,
hate his agent. For
or was
who
it
knows?
just
I mean,
the
I
fact that
hate.
he was given a whiny ass role and that's all
Yeah.
he was able to
I mean,
do?
I hate the
So,
direction and the script writing.
yeah. So, like,
I don't
and
think
that's what
there's
I said
any
about episode 1.
reason. Like, I don't think there's any reason to think that Hayden Christensen couldn't have been a perfectly acceptable young Anakin Skywalker if he'd been given a good script, and if the director hadn't been utterly determined to drag all the emotiveness out of almost all his actors.
Luke was pretty whiny as well. Yeah, but like
Yeah.
I said, it wasn't the. We'll get to that. We'll get to that. But
Can I just
like what
say?
I was saying before
Yeah, you say your thing, and I'll say my thing.
is Adam Driver for the Rise of Skywalker nailed his role pretty well. He played a character in conflict, fought that conflict at the apex part of the movie, and then as he was turning, you could see he didn't have to say anything. You could see him go from Kylo Ren back to Ben, and Ben was a completely different person. And it was just by like the way he like acted. It wasn't just like in his voice or anything like that. He, it's just the way he presented himself. So
All right, we're just gonna have this one in pieces, I guess. So much editing. All right, I'm gonna stop the stream. I'll be right back. Jarrett kills the stream. Very intriguing.
Those are my emotes, man.
Yep. Yeah.
Morgan Piton.
Okay. So yeah, there's so much we can say, but I guess I compare it to this. So I'm a big fan of like Alfred Hitchcock movies, and no, I'm not like I can quote everything, but Hitchcock's big thing, people talk about the twist. Like, okay, he tells you a story and then there's a twist. And he doesn't lie to you. It's just that you think things are going in one direction and then swerve, it's somewhere else. And if you go back and watch the movie, oh yeah, you can see it does make sense. It's not like he lied to you and showed you like fake stuff. So you can piece it together. And ever since then, and all his success, a lot of people have tried to imitate his style and copy it, and sometimes it works and sometimes it doesn't. So like I'll give you two examples. Wild Things, I think, was a movie that was trying to be like a Hitchcock movie and it utterly failed because it's just like swerve, 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 and they don't make any sense. And
I remember that movie.
yeah, I mean people watched it for different reasons, let's be honest, but yeah, it was trash. Like, but I see what they were trying to do. A movie that I think did a much better job of imitating Hitchcock style was A Perfect Murder with let's see, Viggo Mortensen and Michael Douglas and I forget who else. But it was just like very like
Oh,
good.
lost him
Viggo
again.
Mortensen and who's
Michael
you're out.
Douglas.
Michael Douglas. Okay, you're back.
And we're
Yeah,
back.
stream hiccuped again there for a second.
Yeah. So anyway, yeah, Ryan Johnson's at the controls of my ISP tonight. Yeah. So I feel
Here's
like
you talking bad about him.
yeah. So what I feel like is okay. They know Star Wars is successful, and they have all these pieces on the table. Like, okay, I didn't like Matrix Resurrections, but if you ever saw that, remember they're doing the scene where they're talking about what do people like about the Matrix? Bullet time, like kung fu. Like they're just throwing out random things that are in it, and they don't quite understand how it all fits together to make like a coherent whole. So yes, you've got a guy in a mask who has his voice changed. Okay, we need that. We need a guy, a whiny kid. We need like a young woman who's like feisty. We need a chase scene. We need. It's like they're just we need a mysterious character that like you don't know much about who has a cape. Like okay, so it's Captain Phasma instead of Boba Fett. So they have all these pieces and they're just kind of throwing them out there. It's like okay, we need a speeder chase. We need some character to sacrifice themselves. We need a love interest, and it's just a big mess. It's like they don't really understand. And the other problem is I feel like so a lot of people rightly criticize George Lucas, saying like, okay, he's got all these ideas, but he doesn't necessarily know. Like he can't do everything himself. Like he's got to be the special effects guy and the story guy and the acting guy and the director and the producer, and he does everything. It's like he really did his best work when he had that collaborative spirit. He got people together and kind of just got out of his own way rather than controlling everything or trying to and doing a mediocre job at some things. But I feel like instead what Disney has done is like even though they say that they're going beyond his vision, they're just sort of like worshiping George Lucas, and it's like we can't change his formula, so we're going to make the same mistakes he makes, but we're going to make them even bigger. And it's like we're going to just repeat, and we're just going to just double down and just like pound it into the ground. It's like, oh, he made 2 Death Stars, let's make 3 Death Stars. Let's
just to reiterate, just for
I don't know.
these movies, like I said, I think you're right as far as some of that is concerned. The big thing is that when those first 3 came out, we were told that Disney's kind of took a small step back to let the people do the work, but they were giving 3 different people a chance to tell a story. And have you ever had somebody at your job teach you how to do something, and then the next day, and like you're green at your job, by the way, you're brand new, and then had another guy who was that uptight, wound up asshole tell you, and you're like, but I just learned how to do it yesterday like this. He's like, no. That's not how you do it. This is how you do it. The rule, like you said with the rules learning, I think we had a lot of hands in the pot for those movies.
Mm-hmm.
too many people were trying to push their vision in there or do what they wanted to do. And like I said, creative control is awesome. I'm saying it's good. I'm not bashing it at all. I'm saying when you pick up the phone to call Disney to say, "Hey, does this look okay?" and they're like, "Oh yeah, we just want it done." And then now they're panicking come like the last movie, like, "Hey, you need to fucking finish this. We don't care how you do it. Get it done and make sure it's proper." You put it back on the first guy, you're gonna have a messed up trilogy. Like, even with the prequels, it was too much like control from the higher ups. Like nobody could tell Lucas in episode 1 what to do. Like Rick McCallum would jump in there and say, "Hey," and like he would just keep going. The guy had what he wanted to do, and nobody was stopping him. So and I think that was probably the same for 2 and 3. Kind of where I'm going with this, and like I said, I'm sorry, I'm probably dominating the conversation. But I'm probably running out of time. I think that the biggest thing that Disney has problems with is fatigue. We are having so many Marvel movies now, and like if you want to talk about like things that are cashed in, right? Like we're getting monies. Like I think the same thing is happening with Star Wars. I don't find Star Wars to be a bad franchise under Disney's rule right now. I think it's an overused franchise, like Marvel is, and
everything is getting
very standardized.
Well, but it's a never-ending stream of content.
Yeah, and
they're finding these franchises that are popular, and they're like, "All right, we got to constantly be churning out stuff. Can't ever be a fallow period."
It'll soon be the like you're saying. Will soon be the McDonald's.
Yeah.
Of your nightly routine.
People don't have time to digest the last movie, and they've already got the next one or the next TV show.
Right, and it'll be tasteless, but somehow addictive. And the reason, and like that's what I'm saying is like Disney will say, "Hey, it's making us money, so obviously it's working."
We're doing
because because you could doesn't mean you should. And I think that's a big thing that like the human race has a problem with. It's just in any sort of regard.
Yeah, I mean, part of the problem is that we subsidize it by buying the dang tickets and by subscribing to the services and watching the shows, and it's like,
we reward their bad behavior.
Yeah.
And that was my thing with HeroQuest. Like, I'm like, okay, they seem to be on the right track. I want to support this, even though I don't have to. I own 2 copies of HeroQuest. Why do I need this? I don't, but I want to because I want to vote and say yes. And
I mean, I enjoyed the opportunity to get one that was going to be, kind of pristine condition that I could treat properly and hopefully keep from, having a bunch of broken spear points. And
those mythic boxes are not as durable as you might imagine. I notice rips in the box that I've got. Some people have complained that their boards are ripping apart. So just warning you.
Yep.
So actually, StrangeBus, I think the one you've got is better quality. But I know we're still talking about Star Wars. Sorry.
No, you're fine. I was just about to say, like, with, and this is why, like, when a company super fucks up, and like I was telling you in our couple of RantCasts back, I'm not buying anything from Avalon Hill right now. I'm not buying anything from Hasbro right now, and there's a reason for it. It's not because I don't like them, but it's we had that huge debacle. And just right now, I'm just watching how everything kind of plays out.
Mm-hmm. So it's like you like the guy at the window that made your Big Mac, but you're pissed at the company that he works for.
Yeah, I don't dislike Encarmine. I think what he's doing is great. But like what I said, like I'm not. That's a whole nother discussion, and it'll take me another 15 minutes to explain. But man, I didn't mind Solo either. Well, I gotta stay focused. I think it's just the Disney fatigue. They tried to get on a road with Star Wars where they were going to do movies, then they were going to do the Star Wars stories. They abandoned that. So now you have canon stuff that's just hanging in the air. Then they switched over to just TV series. And Marvel's getting switched over to doing a movie like every other year. And like I said before, Star Wars used to be something that you could enjoy in all mediums. So if you didn't want to read the books, read the comics, play the video games, like ruin yourself on Star Wars, you just wanted the movies, it still made sense.
Yeah.
If I want to get everything out of Star Wars right now, that's episode 1, 2, 3, Clone Wars. In between that, then you've got
Rebels.
the Bad Batch.
Bad Batch.
You've got the you got Rebels, you've got Solo, you've got Rogue One in between that. There's a huge chunk now between 3 and 4 that I'm losing track of. Yeah, Andor, Obi-Wan. Then you go
Mandalorian, Book of Boba
well, hold
Fett.
on. Then you go into 4, 5, and 6. Then you do Mandalorian. But the big thing is like Star Wars-a-thons for me are impossible.
Yeah.
I cannot.
They're not fun.
And they're not. Yeah, they're no longer fun.
Yeah.
Because even back in the prequel days
was not good.
and like I said, I enjoyed the Mandalorian, but like it's one of those things where, I now just pick and choose.
Yeah.
What I want to enjoy, and like
Same here.
I don't mind Clone Wars, but there's an episode guide that'll make that way more enjoyable for people who actually want to take a look at it instead of watching 5 full fucking seasons of that show. Same thing with Rebels. It'll give you everything you need. You could watch one season and they cut it. There's a cut that somebody has that'll just cut it so that you get everything that you need. Because people at Disney right now are not making it easy for you. They're talking about Thrawn all the way into the Mando, and Mando's past episode 6, and you have no idea that this guy fucking shows up in Rebels, which is like way before then.
It was me all along.
And they'll tell you, like, where's Clone Wars? It should be on Disney Plus. It's on Disney Plus when I'm watching it. I mean, I would just say find a free place to watch it. I don't completely sponsor that, but I mean, if you don't want to pay a subscription service, I don't blame you. Borrow somebody's, I guess.
I feel about Disney the way you feel about Hasbro, so that's kind of.
But like I said, I have it because I'm a family man, and if I didn't have it for Star Wars, I'd have it. We have it for all my kids' stuff, and I can't tell my kids to pirate stuff right now. It's just not. That's not moral. That's not moral. So, it's one of those things where I just give people access to the people I trust access to my account. Say, hey, here, to watch it. I change my password every once in a while, or my wife changes her password every once in a while, and we just kind of go that way.
If you've got a library card, I'm just saying.
Yeah, or you could do the public library. There's many ways that you can watch it.
Pay for it,
So yeah, but look up an episode guide unless you really want to sit through 5 seasons with the filler included. So I'm a Dragon Ball Z fan. I would not want to sit through every season of Dragon Ball Z. It's not.
Dragon Ball
not
Z
even a thing.
Is on my playlist. Like, I mean, I have like over 100 movies on a list that I made a couple years back based on recommendations from people. It's like, okay, I want to sample this stuff, and I will give a TV show, whether it's Dragon Ball Z or something else, 4 episodes. So
and yeah, and
make them count.
Joe Kosher and we like I said, it's the same thing with me and you. There's things I agree with him on and things I don't. Like Bad Batch, The Mandalorian. I liked the Book of Boba Fett. There were things I didn't like about it, but it didn't make it unenjoyable for me. So I would say watch it. Because it also includes Mando. It's like season 1 or season 2.5 of Mando at that point.
Yeah.
But
there are parts of Mandalorian I enjoyed. It's just that I was just trying to say, like, I've gotten to the point in my life where I can't binge watch a show. Like, I can't sit there for like 4, 6, 8 hours watching TV. It sucks. Like, it's painful, and I'm not enjoying myself. And it's like I'm just trying to get through it, and it ruins the experience. So I've just realized that, like, okay, yeah, I can watch Lord of the Rings. So that's pushing it. That's like 4 hours. I'm done.
But to simplify, because I've been talking way too long, and I'm sorry, guys, but
why we brought you on here.
I really think that Disney has just made the things that we enjoy like it. I just compare it to chain restaurants. It's become a set standard. Like it's always there. It's not special anymore. Like if they announced a new trilogy, do you know how excited I was when the prequel as a kid? Do you know how excited I was? Even mildly excited with the sequels, and like I said, I was in my 20s. Uh, it's not special anymore. Um, and it makes me really afraid for what happens when it stops making money, like an immense amount of money, because they have this huge fucking roadmap for it, and a company doesn't give a shit when they abandon roadmaps.
No.
So
They've
at least
canceled so many
Lucas,
products already.
with what Lucas did, is
Sorry.
he just like signed yes to people who wanted to take control of the project, like people who made books and comics and video games. He was like, okay, just let me go over it a little bit, and you know. He didn't do all all that crap. He just had other people doing it. Like Disney is like working people around the clock, and it's shitty. As far as like Kathryn Kennedy goes, I don't have a great opinion of her because she was entrusted to the brand, and that's where the ka-ching comes in. Is she just saw dollar signs, and like any fucking asshole in the world who just sees dollar signs, she'll eat it up and then spit it out once it doesn't become important anymore. So she can wear all the fucking t-shirts she wants, but she can go to hell for all I care. So
I'm really curious about all these like movie. Well, we mentioned. I know we're not going to get into Solo, but 80% of the movie was reshot. Like, I'm curious what they had before she canceled it. Does that mean it was really that bad, or just who cares? It's
no,
my vision.
I
It
think
doesn't matter.
it was. I don't know.
It isn't going to make
said
enough money, so you're fired.
Yeah. I can't remember. There were some rumors about it, and I'd have to relook it up again. But I feel like that's a really shitty thing to do. Cancel it while it's pretty much almost done.
Yeah. Well,
But like I said,
like
she makes some
Batgirl.
really awful decisions, and she's still in the fucking chair. So, and that's what I'm saying is like I can't blame everything on her. There are the people under her that to help make those decisions.
Right.
So, but as far as Dave Filoni and Jon Favreau goes, and this is my last thing because it's 11 o'clock and I won't push too far.
Yeah.
But I don't find them to be the saviors of Star Wars. They just make good Star Wars. That's it. There are people that make good Star Wars, and there make people that don't. And well, like I said, with people like us, like I said, we're a little older. We've seen our standard. We know where our standards are.
Because George Lucas
If you're
made good Star
13,
Wars, he also made bad Star Wars. He did both.
If you're 13 and you're watching this plus the original trilogy, I feel like your standards really aren't there as much as ours are, because your first exposure was the original trilogy. If you watched those on a constant loop and that's all you had was that, the books, the comics, the things to help you build Star Wars in your own head, to build that world, because to me it wasn't just George Lucas, it was the people that helped make that universe.
Yeah.
Then I feel like those are the people Disney makes the most money off, as the people that need to be spoon-fed their imagination. So, I feel like that's where it's coming from. They don't give a shit about like you or me as much as they give a shit about people who are like, oh, the next season of the Mando's coming out, or they're gonna do this spin-off, or they're gonna spoon feed me my Star Wars because I don't like reading, or I don't want to play your dumb video game, or I just want to sit on the TV and vegetate and watch the next Avengers 7 or the Thor movie that just came out. That's just a goat crying over and over again. Like,
well, it's like Star Trek fans. It's like it was comforting to always have it on TV for all those years, even though it wasn't good for a long time, and they knew it and they admitted it. But it's just like the fact that it was on TV and it was always going to be there. So yeah, but that's not a way to run a franchise.
No.
I mean, there were periods where it was pretty.
Yeah, and I was telling Kurgan that yesterday. I was like, like when Iron Man came out, up until like the first Thor movie or the Avengers movie,
Mhm.
I was like stoked about it. But I
Yeah.
was also, what age was I? I was between the ages of like
I was almost 30.
16
Yeah.
and I was like 16 and I was going into I was 22, between 16 and 22. So that shit was all fresh in my head.
It's like
And
Iron Man was
no,
restoring my faith in superhero movies after I'd been let down so many times. It was like, oh, yeah, they can still have good ones. And my enthusiasm was really going down. It was like everyone was like, "Yeah, Avengers! Oh my gosh, this is the greatest thing ever!" I'm like, it was okay. It's just like so. Yeah, I've become the cynical Grinch like way before you, but I guess that happens because it's like okay, I don't know, maybe it's not comparable to anything, but it's like wrestling. If you watch wrestling like every week or multiple times a week because you can watch different stuff. It's like you start to see, okay, I've seen this move like a million times. I've seen this storyline, this angle. Oh, I know exactly what's going to happen. It's like, oh, it's the same old crap. And but versus like, oh, if you save up your money and you go see a wrestling show once a year, it's like, oh my gosh, this is awesome, because it's not
yeah.
just constantly in your mind. You're not judging it based on it's not competing with all those other versions in your head. So yes, the oversaturation is a big problem. And yes, as Ribby said, somehow Palpatine returned. It's like the more you think about it, it's like on the one hand you've got people saying, well, you shouldn't have to spoon feed everything to the audience. It should be, give them some
Well, you
credit.
shouldn't.
But then you
Yeah,
also
you
give them a throwaway
shouldn't.
line that's supposed to explain something, but it's almost like the characters are admitting this is freaking stupid. What just happened?
And I'm gonna tell you, like, not
Should have played
everybody
Fortnite.
thinks that way. And like, hey, I played Fortnite.
Yeah.
Don't
But
don't be this up on me.
that's how you found out that Palpatine was back.
Oh,
Remember that? They announced it in Fortnite because they had that Star
I
Wars
wasn't
mod.
playing for.
They had a
Yeah,
Star Wars mod,
I
and
was.
it's like the Sith are back in the galaxy, rah, the New
Yeah, no
Order.
idea. I
Right.
Yeah, I wasn't playing it back then.
Somehow
But
I was playing
the
Fortnite and Palpatine returned.
but I mostly put it as this. Like, I feel like kids are mostly they're gonna have a problem, but I think that's the target is kids, teenagers, people who haven't yet set a standard. And like
Hmm.
some kids have. I'm not talking about everybody, but
No.
like I feel like the demographic there, because when I was that young, I didn't have a set standard. I thought I did,
Hmm.
but when you've only lived a certain amount of time, it's very hard to set that standard because give yourself another 15, 20 years
Hmm.
and you'll have seen some more shit in your life.
Yeah.
And like that's what I'm saying is like it's really easy to sit somebody in a chair, you know, like force their eyes open and feed them information at that age because like,
Right.
you're just eating it. And um like I said, it could just be opinionated here, but I was a huge fan of that stuff, and I was like, keep it coming. What movies till 2025? Let's go. And like now, I'm like, oh, it's the same formula. Stop. I'm full. This is too much McDonald's. This is a lot of junk. That's all this is junk food, and you know, it, it's fatigue. They need to do something different, and that's where I'm at right now with Marvel movies and Star Wars. Is I don't dislike Star Wars, but
I'm not hyped for it the way, like
No.
they announced
yeah,
another trilogy tomorrow. I'm just gonna kind of be like, oh, whatever.
Yeah.
like this stuff all on my wall is because I've been a fan for so long, and I will still play the original games before I touch anything new anymore. Like,
No.
and that's why I'm a Star Wars channel. I was starting to become known as that for a little while when I streamed was because I was doing Dark Forces. I did that open.
Oh
Was
boy,
it
Dark
open?
Forces.
Yeah, I did Dark
The
Forces,
Force
Dark Forces
Engine.
2.
Yeah.
Me and Kurgan played Jedi Outcast and Jedi Academy for a long time.
Yeah,
I was
man. I would
doing
again. I would again.
doing Shadows of the Empire. I know a couple streamer friends that I game with that do mods for Dark Forces 2.
You did the
There's a community
marathon,
that I follow. Yeah, I did the marathon, which was all
Super
of the
Star Wars
games.
trilogy and Game
Yeah, I did
Boy
the
and
stuff all the way back into NES and Atari and
Game Boy Advance.
and that stuff is still up on my channel. It's in the highlights. So um it's just one of those things where I that stuff was there's and just like Joe said, man, you need to get on the right cast too. It's
Yeah.
Star Wars is
Let
in
the hate
everybody,
flow
and
through you. Yeah, there is.
yeah, and it's
And people don't get and that's a whole nother topic is to see yourself in the character. Like I didn't need a child Anakin as a kid to think Luke Skywalker and Han Solo and Princess Leia were cool, and I wanted to do the things they were doing in my imagination. Like,
I mean, I feel like most of the time, my memory from when I was a kid, I'm idealizing myself as an adult.
yeah,
I never really got into the I want to see a kid being the hero, because I think
Right.
even as a kid, it was like, but that's not how the world works.
that was Spielberg's thing.
Yeah.
He would tell
Right.
the stories from the point of view of the kids. And Lucas worked with Spielberg in a lot of stuff, but yeah, Star Wars, they were grown-ups. I mean, they
but
were
I
young.
think he kind of did when he did the
Yeah.
kid thing. I think it was kind of like a little like. Now, correct me if I'm wrong. I think a lot of the times the kid was more true to life, like ignorant in some ways. Like they came in new to whatever they were going into, right? What was it? See, this is stuff I just have to pull out of the front of my head for, but like I feel like a lot of movies try to do that now, and like all of a sudden the kid like just knows how to hold a sword or a gun, or like they go into action and they know what to do. Like I feel like if you're gonna do like a kid type movie like that, or like a coming of age, I feel like you want to make your character a little bit more inexperienced or new to life.
Yeah, it's like Alice in
And
Wonderland. Like, let me show you this. You'll see the world through their eyes because you're new to it too. But these are
yeah,
all
I
like
think
old stories. Like the whole gritty, like superhero, like deconstructed. There's no true heroes and everything's a lie. Like that thing. And then, oh, just kidding. It was actually, hey, the rebellion, yay, it's freedom. Like that's what we got. I feel like what we got with the sequels. It was just a big reset button. But going back to those old stories where it's like, yeah, you've got the young unknown, hero's journey, all that stuff. Like that has a broad appeal. It doesn't matter like what language or race or gender or people can find something in that to grasp onto, even if that character is not always making the right decisions. It has a very universal appeal, and I think that's always going to be a part of Star Wars. And if they lose that, they've kind of lost it. I mean, yeah, they can tell the story of like a janitor in Jabba's palace, and I guess that could be interesting, but it's not the same thing if you don't have those elements.
right. And like I said, just my main point here is like it's great when a big company can take something that needs help and rehash it or make something more of it. It's when
Reinvigorate
they
it, I think, is a good,
yeah
kind of
and
breathe some new life into it when it was on the brink of dying or something.
Hmm.
it gets bad when they all sit at the round table and go, okay, so it made a lot of money. Now, how can we keep it making more money as much as possible
Yeah.
all the
Like,
time?
it made half the money.
Like-
How do we keep making this so that it now makes all the money?
Yeah, and like shareholders, we need to impress them, not the people, the shareholders.
Right.
Like, and we stop. I think we stop becoming human beings then, and stop wanting to do our creative visions. Or if we let, I think if we do the opposite and we just say, okay, you're a really famous director, we're going to give you creative control. Just send us the final version when you're finished. Like without checking up or doing anything. I think when you're making a movie or video game or any form of major media, there has to be that good communication between like both parties.
Yeah.
I think on top of that, your bigger party needs to learn that sometimes you're going to have a bad day or a bad sale. I think a lot of companies nowadays don't know how to handle that anymore.
No.
Because if you get a bad sale, you're done.
Yep.
Your company's over. It's done. And that happens a lot in the video game industry. Companies just get absorbed left and right now, and it's crazy. And all it takes is one bad video game. Like you sold 4 million copies. What, you were supposed to sell 7 million? I mean, 4 million is like a fucking bestseller almost.
Like
and it, like
the anime scene
people
in Japan, it's like, oh, you had 3 bad episodes. The whole thing's canceled. You're fired.
Yeah, and
Out on your ear.
it was. So I mean, just to finalize, I think that with the Mandalorian and stuff, we're getting into season 3, and my opinion so far, an episode just came out yesterday. I don't mind where they're going with it. I have a feeling that some people are going to wonder where it's going. I think I know where they're kind of going with it now. But my worry is like when it's going to start becoming tiresome. Or like when Jon Favreau and Dave Filoni are going to have one bad day and then they're going to get fucking slammed because this season has, or this show has already had some controversial hits and it survived those controversial hits. And
well, and fan service isn't going to save you. I mean, we saw that with Star Trek. Like, fine, Luke Skywalker's back, and there's Dark Troopers, and they got a dark saber. Isn't that awesome? Like,
speaking of which, and this is probably going to be the most hottest topic, but the fans are probably, and I hate to say this is going to piss somebody off. The fans, I think, are the biggest problem.
Shots fired.
Like the hard fans are the biggest problem. Not like people who just like Star Wars or something. The people who expect Star Wars to be what they want it to be. And they get fucking angry. Like beyond belief. Like you and I and Karningul here, like having a polite discussion about what makes Star Wars and what doesn't make Star Wars is fine. I'm not going to write death threats to people.
Yeah,
because the season 3 of the Mando had a person in it that had political controversies on Twitter, or that Kenobi had, somebody I didn't like in it. I think people like that need to be ignored at the most, to the highest degree.
I 100% agree with you, but at the same time, I think there are people also that hide behind that. And they'll say, well, see, some asshole, made a death threat on Twitter. That therefore, everything the fans say can just be ignored because obviously they're all like that guy. It's like, I know that's not what you're saying, but I know there are people that write big articles. It's like, oh, the toxic Star Wars fans. It's like,
well, and that leads into that too.
There are people that are obsessed.
That's the thing, right?
To an unhealthy degree. Like
the presence of bad arguments makes good faith criticism harder.
Yes.
It pollutes the space so that it's like
it definitely does.
It's difficult, and sometimes it makes you want to shy away from planting your flag on a certain side. Like, well, I have what I think are good reasons for liking or not liking this.
Yeah.
But half the people who seem to be on my side are doing it for like really abhorrent reasons, and I don't want to be on their team.
Yeah.
You're like, stand against Star Wars right now. Yeah, stand against Star Wars right now.
Yeah.
We didn't like Cara Dune because she did this. Hey, wait, hold up. I just didn't like The Mandalorian. You don't need to get political here. Wait, hold up.
I really liked the original King Kong. Great movie. But you know who else liked that movie? Hitler.
Oh, well.
And that's our stream today. It's true. It was his favorite movie, but it's like, all right, well, I don't want to be like Hitler, so I guess that movie sucks now.
Pedro made some not so great comments and kept his job because it was in line with the Disney agenda. But see, and we've made this comment on the RantCast before.
Oh, he was in Star, so they just ignored it.
I still have our old RantCast episodes. I loved Cara Dune's character. The actress,
I didn't at first.
I don't know who she is.
Yeah,
I don't.
Carano.
I don't.
I've seen her stuff
her
before.
political views. Yeah, probably not. Like as far as my opinion goes, it doesn't matter. Probably not the most favorable thing to do is rant your opinions on Twitter. I think you should be more mature than that.
Agreed.
But didn't even get talked to. Didn't told, hey, look, these are the steps you need to take. Just got fucking shit canned because people hated it. And Like same thing with Pedro Pascal. Like
Bill Burr
these
defended
people
her.
have, yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's like these people have jobs and like they have lives and like I don't know who Gina Carano is. I know Cara Dune from what I've seen in Star Wars, and that's who I'm watching.
Yeah.
So
yeah, I don't want to hear. I don't want to hear Mark Hamill's beliefs. Like
yeah, well, yeah, and it's
screw that.
Did Luke Skywalker what does Luke Skywalker do in his spare time? Is he who does he really fall in love with, or
Right.
what's Cara Dune's affiliation with this and this? And I was like, dude,
You're an
that's
actor.
not even
You've
part of
hired
the
to do a
story.
job, and yeah.
Yeah, so. And it is today's cancel culture. Yes, it is.
Oh man.
But I really think
we
like
could drop
it's
a bomb. Talk about what do you think of the Flash after all the stuff about.
I don't even know. I don't pay attention to that. Like, see, there's only so much superhero shit that I can pay attention to.
There's too much. Yeah, there's too much stuff to keep track of it all and make it like your life's work to be on top of all of the pop culture franchises nowadays.
I'd rather not know the gossip. I'd rather just judge the art for what it is.
And currently I work a contracting position right now, like with my business. I'm no longer in a full-time position, and I have all the time in the world after the kids are asleep, and I still can't keep track of that shit. So it's I don't know how people keep up with it. You'd have to be doing nothing. Like I don't know.
Yeah.
Like either you're hooked to the back of the neck with something that's feeding you information, Matrix style.
You are,
or
Chat
I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah, or your Chat GPT.
Yeah.
But like it's one of those things where I think that I'm living a fever dream some days with some of the shit that happens. I will always believe that the people have a voice, and that our stuff should always be taken into consideration when it comes to media. Like, we had problems with certain things with HeroQuest, and I think Avalon Hill did a good job addressing those issues. We didn't come out screaming and demanded people's heads, and they didn't just give it to them or give it to us. Like, I think there's a difference between the two. If you have concerns and you're like, hey, if these are going to keep going, I'm not going to buy anymore, or I'm not going to continue to watch your service.
Yeah.
What you should probably do is address that situation. What are we doing wrong? Okay. Sit down with your employee / actor or actress and say, hey, look, what you're doing is probably not favorable.
Yeah.
It's up to you whether you want to keep doing it, because you always have a choice. Mm-hmm. But
yeah,
and the role was written for Carano, yeah. But and I don't know, maybe that was taking place, and she just, maybe she said, no, I'm gonna keep talking, and then they said, okay, well, you're fired.
Yeah.
I didn't dig too deep into it. I just know that she was fired.
She did a couple interviews, but it's been so long. I watched it at the time, but I don't quite remember all she. But it's her take on it, as opposed to, we don't know what they said.
Yeah.
It sounded like when they announced that she'd been let go, it kind of didn't sound like they even knew. Like, it almost sounded like hearsay. Well, somebody told us this is what happened, so we fired her. Like,
and then what was it? A couple days later, they wanted Pascal to be fired, and I'm like, do you know what you're doing? At that point, you're pulling an Eric Foreman. At that point, like, you want to take your main character out of the Mandalorian. So, what else is there? Is this going to be the journey of Bo-Katan at that point? Like, cause
some people were saying the other characters were going to overshadow him anyway. But yeah, I just say either none of your employees can talk out of turn, or they all get to. Like, just it. Otherwise, you're just saying, okay, well, these people can speak their minds, but these other people, you say one thing wrong and you're out of there.
Yeah, like I said, I don't have a problem with people speaking their mind and stuff. It's more like, to me, it's like a professionalism standpoint, right? So if you're going to talk bad about your company, like, I don't know what she said even. I can't even remember. I just know that she talked some shit on Twitter and got fired. So that's how little I care about it, because I don't know her. So yes, I enjoy her work, but that's her job. If she behind closed doors is hitting people, no, I'm not going to like her. And
Well,
yeah, that might
she
start
was
to favor
hitting
my
people in the
opinion for.
octagon. She was a MMA fighter.
Yeah, well, yeah, but
I know
like, you
it's
know what I
bad,
mean.
but yeah.
But like, um, like it's like one of those things where like it's not going to stop me from watching the episodes.
Yeah.
Because at that point, it's not Gina Carano I'm watching. It's Cara Dune I'm watching.
Yeah. Well,
If she can breathe life into a character, it's
it's like
whatever.
it's like Mark Hamill. Like he regularly picks fights with people online, and I'm just like, no, you just come across as such a jerk sometimes. But it's just like, okay, but that's him. Like when I'm watching Luke Skywalker, that's the character. Like I'm not thinking about the actor and like what is going on in his personal life. But yeah, it's just, and I mean, with him, you remember all that stuff where it sounded like he was like being really critical of Ryan Johnson in The Last Jedi, and then it's like, oh, all of a sudden he just like clams up. It's like, okay, well, yeah, of course, because guess who's signing his checks?
It's really funny because people cut all that. He says such true stuff at times that like it can be cut and used in different ways.
Yeah.
Like I have run into stuff on YouTube so many times where it's like Mark Hamill defends Ryan Johnson. Mark Hamill talks about Ryan Johnson. Mark Hamill hates the sequels. Mark Hamill didn't mind the sequels, and here's why. And it's like mixed cuts of his interviews.
Well, yeah.
So like you at that point you really just gotta watch like an actual interview with him, like on different dates, because some of those were before they released this like the sequels, and some were after. Like
Sure.
That's like saying like Disney really like loved the sequels and like just pulling all of her interviews from pre The Force Awakens when she was like super excited to be in the role, as opposed to
she's
like,
saying now that she doesn't like it.
No, it's
I know John
like her last interview. She was just fucking confused, and
Oh, really?
I think she was just phoning it in so she could do something else. Yeah,
Interesting.
it was like during COVID. She was sitting there saying, "Well, they were telling me one thing, and then they said like they were exercising, like all the stuff they were exercising was during filming, like about her being Palpatine's daughter. Then they were gonna start changing that up, and then there was an argument.
I kind of feel sad hearing that because like, she's like early in her career and all this stuff, and it's like, oh, you're gonna be the star. It's gonna be so great. It's like, dang.
I think she handled it well.
She was pretty clearly so excited to be part of it.
Mm-hmm.
I think there was at least in the beginning.
Kind of has a right to be angry too.
Boyega was done.
They backseated the shit out of him.
Yeah,
he was done very dirty.
And I cannot imagine what his agent was telling him when they put him in Star Wars. What like not Abrams, but like what like people at Disney were telling him, like, oh, you're gonna be great. Like, look at this. You could be this, and this character. We're like all of it's being written right now. And
I found his character extremely annoying. But again, I separate that from the actor. It's like I feel bad for the actor.
Ray!
Yeah, super cut. Ray! Yeah.
I think he was done okay in the Force Awakens. Like they did.
Yeah,
they introduced him very well.
They undid all of his character development.
Yeah,
they did.
They
were just they very much did.
We're going to pretend that none of that happened from his perspective, even though he remembers it. It wasn't like he went in a coma and then woke up and was like back where he had been on Jakku or something.
He and Rey might be a thing, or maybe he and Poe have a thing, or maybe
well, and the whole thing where
Lando's droid are going to get it on. You never know.
I think. Yeah.
Okay. I liked Solo, but that what was it? The self-righteous droid, the affirmative action droid, whatever they called it, was unnecessary.
Droid.
There are so many characters that you can throw in there.
Two? Oh, trust me, everything works.
And I feel like I said, I feel like there was a lot to do on a roundtable discussion there, and somebody just phoned that shit in, and they were high as shit. And they were like, well, how can we make this more...
And I was just like, what the hell are you doing to this guy?
Like, holy shit, man. Like...
And then Billy D. Williams in that interview, they were like saying, like, he's like, gender fluid, I guess. And then later he's like, no, I didn't. I looked the word up, and that's not what I meant at all. I just meant I was in touch with my feminine side.
Yeah, he was
The
very
writings of
he
Carl
was
Jung.
he was very casual. I think the I met him at a Comic-Con once, and he was hungover.
Oh man.
At his age, he was hungover from drinking too much. So he had glasses on, and nobody was doing pictures with him. But he
Oh,
was just so
sad.
casual. He was just like, "Hey, how you doing?" He'd like fist bump me, and that was it. And that was my run-in with Lando Calrissian, and that was back in 2015. So I can't imagine
Wow.
him reading all the crap about like what they're doing with his character now. Him being like, "Oh, gender fluid, okay, whatever." Like it just tosses the paper to the side.
What the hell is this?
What? So he drinks fluids that are gender appropriate. Okay, whatever. That's
Like
cool. Like,
like Colt 45. They did that commercial and they're still making fun of me.
yeah. So I don't
Yeah.
I don't know.
Billy
It's
D.
it's and the guy was like half asleep in the Rise of Skywalker. He was so bloated and he was like half asleep.
I mean, I'm
Like,
glad all those actors got paid, but yeah, the showing for the classic characters, it was just yeah, it was farcical.
but uh, try a refreshing gender fluid.
Like Tropic Thunder or something. What was it?
Dude, that is still considered one of the best comedies ever, and it
Yeah.
was done and it's hard as it was done with blackface. And
Yeah. Well,
that's
and
the
people are like, "Oh
craziest
my
part.
gosh, that movie, it's got offensive things," and it's like, "Yes, you moron. That was the whole point when they made it. It was supposed to be offensive at the time." Like, anyway, whatever.
I mean, it was
Comedy,
commenting. It was commenting on the offensiveness of the thing that it was depicting.
right? And that
I'm
was
a dude
par
dressed as a dude disguised as
another dude. Yeah. And I mean that was par for the course comedy back then. It's like how edgy can
And
you be? Can you just
it
nothing sacred? Yeah.
it was a topper to Robert Downey Jr.'s career. Like I said,
Yeah.
nothing about that movie hurt anybody going forward. And like
Nope.
it was warned. People were warned. I think Robert Downey put in a an interview that he was told by his agent, like, look, don't do this. You wouldn't want to do this.
No coming back for this.
It's there's like
Yeah.
no coming back when you do that. And he fucking took the step and did it.
Of course,
And
you know
like
that the number of Hollywood actors that are still working that have done that, a lot. There's a lot of them. And you're like,
yeah, and
you'd be
like I
surprised.
said, had it been done in any other way, it would have been horrible. But like
Mhm.
it's one of those things where it's still considered a great comedy movie because it doesn't just focus on something like that. It's the situation it's put under.
And Tom Cruise,
So
unsung hero
yeah, and
of
Tom
that
Cruise,
movie.
big ass fucking hands.
Yeah, it's like I forget he's even in it because he just, it's like, wait a minute, that's Tom Cruise. Yeah.
I will fuck you up.
He looked like he was having the time of his life. Yeah.
From what he's talked
Indeed.
about, the role I think he was.
Yeah.
You know, I think every so often actors really relish the opportunity to just do something ridiculously crazy that's way outside
Yeah.
what fans have come to expect from them.
Yeah.
And you know, and he got to eat all the scenery.
Yeah, not just chew on it, he actually ate it.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah, I think it took me like 3 attempts to get through Tropic Thunder because I'm like, I don't know, this is weird. Like, I don't know if I like this. But by the time I got through it, I'm like, hell yeah! Like I'm singing along to the song. I'm doing the dance moves. I got the medallion, got the hairy chest. Yeah, might as well. Yep.
uh,
If you can
All right,
handle it,
guys.
if you're not faint of heart.
I have to get going so I can do some
Napoleon
Resident Evil 4
Dynamite.
tonight.
I saw Napoleon Dynamite in theaters. Oh yeah, so StrangeBus has got to go. Okay, just acknowledging these last few comments. Yeah, Joe Kozier got to get you on the next one. Biggest file of turds when I first watched it. Then I saw bits and pieces, end up liking it. Some movies are like that. Some movies are like that. They grow on you. It's like, okay, fine. Like another comedy. Last thing. Rocket Man with what's his name? Ellison. Harlan Williams, not Harlan Ellison. Harlan Williams. That movie, the first time I saw it, I was like, this is the dumbest movie I've ever seen. And then like third or fourth time, I'm just like, I can't get enough of this. So sometimes it works. Some movies, yeah, it doesn't matter how many times you see it, it's still trash. But
Right.
RantCast. So next RantCast in 2 weeks, if we can do it. Sorry about all the issues. Well, that'll be a nightmare editing. I'll just kind of do that when I have time. But thank you guys for I almost said riding the bus with us, but that's the other story.
Oh.
Jedi, you do Jedi. Yeah, riding the RantCast. Yeah, so we're gonna be raiding you next, I guess.
Yeah, if you want to, you just gotta wait a couple minutes so I can get started because I'll have to get started and use the restroom real quick. But I'll bring up the stream. There'll be some music playing, and then I'll bring up Resident Evil 4 because it's already installed. So
nice.
If anybody's interested,
Resident Evil 4. Yeah, the farting in the spacesuit scene was probably like the least funny, but there's so many like quotable moments in that movie. Yeah, Rocket Man. Not the biopic about Elton John, but the forgotten Rocket Man. It's like, what are you talking about? Farting in a spacesuit? What? I just see him playing the piano. I don't understand. All right, thanks for joining us on the RantCast. Yeah. All right, and that's it for tonight. Take care, everybody. RantCast.